So how's everyone this morning? Everyone had a good time. It's a beautiful building. Had a tough time finding it. I am directionally challenged. I'm colorblind. Short. In life, there are many things going wrong here, right? Yeah. So I think my presentations usually run long, so I'm going to just start. Welcome everyone. I appreciate you being here. My name is Alankar Tayal. I have been doing UX and CRO since I got started. How I got started was I didn't want to work. My dad said, "Son, what are you going to do after your undergrad?" I said, "I want to do masters." Why? I don't want to work. I mean, saying I don't want to work is not a really good thing. But being an Indian, saying, "Oh, I want to do a master's," yeah, your father just said, "Okay, I'll pay for it." So then he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I don't know." So at that time, I found human-computer interaction, HCI, and I've been doing it ever since then. So that's a little bit about myself. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start off before we do anything else. You know, people come to conferences, they come to learn, but they also come to network. I want you to do the tale of 2 years. Take 2 business cards out, or maybe 1, it's up to you. Go to someone that you don't know. Tell them what you were doing in 2003, and then tell them what is it you want to do in 2017. I'll let you know, in 2003, my son was born. I had a lot of hair. That was my second child. After that, I have no hair left. But nonetheless, life was wonderful. 2 beautiful children, a beautiful wife. What more can a guy ask for? In 2017, I'm hoping that my children will still want to be around me, because they're getting older and they basically no longer want to be with the parents. But anyway, take a couple of minutes, share whatever you feel like sharing. Personal stories, professional story. Go. You got 2 minutes. What is it people do not focus on? The moment. How about all the people who are always the same, no matter what technology is being used? That is the conundrum of technology. When we see technology, we focus only on technology. We had Internet of Things panel, there is a wearable panel that is going to take place. There is mobile, there is cloud, and everyone says, "Oh my God, UX is so complex because of all of these things." Here is my proposal. No, it is not. Yeah, there are variations to it, but the reality of life is it is not as more complex, because we are still dealing with human beings. So if you focus on human beings, your life actually becomes easier. So in this presentation, I will tell you 7 usability concepts that have been around for a long time. Again, bringing back to the fundamentals, that if you focus on those, they will help you improve your conversion rate and your user experience. By the way, I should have said, if you are looking to tweet, I am at Alankar Tayal, and there is, I think the hashtag is SNS15. You can call me dumb if you like. If you call me smart, it's up to you. But do tweet. And remember this experience? When we went from this experience, and I'm assuming that this is, when we went from this experience to this experience, we said, "Oh wow, this is so cool." But what's the same? What's similar? Same rules. Because again, the same human beings are using the same experience. So technology changes, humans do not. Deb Schultz made that comment, and I 100% agree with her. So here are the 7 principles that I'm going to talk about today. Build trust. Design from the perspective of your user. Design with the content F-shape. Whitespace is your friend. Avoid banner blindness. People do not make effective choices. Help them. Use effective error messaging. If you Google, you will find these. I'm not giving you amazing something new. And that's the concept. That actually is the purpose here. So, build trust. I love peanuts. I don't know how anybody else does. And I love this. Oh man. You guys are Lucy. and Charlie is your customer. How much trust are you building in their mind? So, a friend of mine asked me, hey, I actually am ignorant as far as technology goes. And I have something I call trust. I trust certain friends of mine who basically guide me in my decisions. I'll tell them I want to buy something of technology, and they will tell me go buy this, and I'll go buy it. No questions asked. So a friend of mine said, hey, go to geekbuying.com and buy this laptop. I said, okay. But I went to this laptop and I'm like, what is this? I'm looking at this page and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of information, but who are they? I don't see any information. Where is this? Where is it? Where is it? There's a long scroll. I spent all this time going up and down and didn't find what I was looking for. And this is the whole page. And the information was there. Did anybody see it? Right there. 5 scrolls down. And right there was the bottom. If you don't know who this group or this company is, then it's tough to buy from them. Now you might say, well, my company, everybody knows it. Well, there are 400 billion pages on the internet, and it is growing day by day. There are 7 billion human beings. I'm going to do the math and it's going to be bad. Close to 80 pages per human being on the web. And when I found that area, can you tell me where I can click to find, to actually engage with this and to figure out what the company does? Anyone? It's there. Ah, why buy from us? Oh, wait a minute. You still have to look a long time, right? And then when I clicked on this, oh, this is what I got you. Geek Buying is choosing and cooperating with the most reliable shipping courier. Choosing and cooperating. Customers not only enjoy it, but also experience kinds of safe, fast, and guaranteed shipping method. And I'm reading this language and I'm like, what in the God name? I mean, English is not my first language, but I thought, wow, this sucks. Bye-bye. Trust is critical. Trust is important. Here's an other experience. I was sent another, again, by the same friend, this wireless emporium. My daughter, as I told you, she's 14 and now she wants an iPhone. She wanted an iPhone, and when she wanted it, initially I was like, I don't want to spend all this money. And she said, no, I need an iPhone. I said, hey, Samsung, no, iPhone. Why? Because every friend has it. So I asked my friend, where can I buy an iPhone? Send me this particular website, Wireless Emporium. The very first experience I have when I come to this is, wait a minute, wow, why shop at Wireless Emporium? Okay, still, can't trust anyone. Here are the 4 areas within 2 scrolls. They told me a bunch of different things. Hey, security issues, buy risk-free. Little bit better experience. And when I look at this, when I clicked on it, all of a sudden it tells me free shipping and free return shipping. Upfront and transparent of what will happen. And when I click on about them, look at that. No stock photography, actual human beings. These are actual the owners and those people who actually work in each individual offices. Switching, sale take place. So the very first thing is in building trust, assume no one knows you. I don't care if you work for Coke, I don't care if you work for Home Depot, I don't care if you work for Walmart or whoever else. Assume no one knows you. They may know your brand, but they do not know what experience they can expect from you when they engage with you online. So assume no one knows you and educate them. Know that every single micro interaction with you on your website either builds or destroys trust. It is not about just putting a about you page out there. It is about setting and meeting those expectations at every single step. This is principle number one, and it's the toughest thing you will ever do. Trust is not about displaying icons or having about you. Trust is about building confidence, and this is how you build confidence. And these are the things, by the way, you do every day, but somehow when we get in a company, we become dumb. When you walked in this room and you talked to, when you introduce each other, did you just say, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me? No. You took out a business card, you introduced yourself. Back to the fundamentals. Show your human side, introduce yourself. Tell them how long you have been in business, how many customers you have. Do not make an assumption that they will know who you are. Use real pictures of the real people. Images are very critical, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on. You yourself, if I show you a stock photography, imagine this photograph. Imagine you had a photograph of Alankar, 6'2", slim and trim, head full of hair, and I walk in and I look at like this. What will be your trust factor with Alankar? There you go. That's it. That's that experience that happens on your website. Be transparent. Be transparent about the buying process, about return policies. Be transparent about the price. Show the value, what you bring to the table for them. Show why you are the right business for them. This is all about content, by the way, and it is about being simplistically out there, being available. It is not easy. That's the reason why it's number one principle. It will take you a long time. You will fight internal battles with your own corporation, your own company, but it's worth it. Trust is not about having this dancing monkey. This was actually a dancing monkey, basically who danced along this page. You'll come, what the heck? I was looking to buy business cards for myself. Everything went right, except when I came to this particular page and this monkey was dancing. And I'm like, what happened? And it had some great content, but because they had the line go, no monkey business, they showed a dancing monkey. Each and every one of you, write it down, I guarantee to you, each and every one of you has a dancing monkey on your website that is destroying the trust with your users. Find that dancing monkey and get rid of it. Perspective. Oh, I love this one. Boat. No, land. You have to develop things from the perspective of your users. I wear this nice looking device. Little history. When I got married, I'm obviously again biased. I recognize I got married to a beautiful woman. On our 50th anniversary, which happened last year, we tried on our wedding clothes once more. She fit in, after 2 kids, she fit exactly right into the clothing. Me, man, I was huffing and puffing, trying to get that pant up, zip, nothing would close, and I was I felt like a balloon. So my wife said, man, I think you need to do some exercise, guy. You're out of shape. You are pretty bad. So I said, hey, I'm going to get a Fitbit. I'm going to get a Fitbit and it's going to make me get healthy. So I went to their website, I looked at, oh yeah, good, ultimate experience, great job. And then as I go through their website and all of a sudden I start seeing these. I'm like, okay, I'm just interested in what the heck it does. And then I saw, obviously, it's not happiness when you're going to a website and your wife says, oh, look how fit these people are, look at you. Not happiness. And then, oh, okay, good, more information about what I wanted. And this guy again, the guy basically my wife wanted to marry once more. This guy and I have a lot of problems together. I mean, it's like we are having a conversation going on. And then all of a sudden, specifications. So here's the thing, perspective. No one comes to you because they love you. Nobody loves you. Nobody loves your company. They don't care about the cool things that you do. Sorry. They're there to solve their problem. They don't care about your amazing story. If you cannot solve their problems, it's not of no use. Perspective. So let's look at this experience. There were 13 steps that I had to go through. 13 screens. These are 13 literal screens. From here, okay, live chart. Oh, this is a value. Oh, this go great. But what all those 13 screens required, or 13 scrolls required? No, not really. The reality is, from my perspective, because I'm looking for a tool that helps me engage my physical activity, I really cared about these 4. But I was forced to see the others. What if they had designed the website from my perspective? What if they had given me only these 4 pieces of information? How many of you have stories that you want to tell that your users really don't care about? Follow 80-20 rule. Focus on the 20% of the content that 80% of your users care about. Do not just give them stuff that because you want to give them stuff, because you look cool, because your company has done such a great video. How many of you put up a video because the marketing spent all that money on this video? You better put this video up there. Why? What's the value it brings to the user? Perspective is critical. You need to think from their perspective. Think mobile. You know, people think mobile basically is all about the screen that I can scroll on. Responsive design has something very, very critical that we have to think about. Responsive design is not just about the fact that the same website works on my tablet and or on my mobile device. Responsive design is about prioritization of that content. What will display first? What will display second? What will display third? But how do you decide that? From the perspective of the user. What is the most critical piece of information they are looking for when they come to your website? And that's tough to do, but that's your job. You have to do that. So if I were looking from a mobile perspective, do I really want to show all these 13 different scrolls? Especially this piece of information that is at the bottom, that is the most critical? No. Again, I'll focus on those 4. And then if after that you want to put all those lifestyle images, it's up to you. How about this example? Pizza Hut, this is Pizza Hut desktop website, and this is their mobile. They went from 15 call to action, the things that you can engage with on this one, to only 6. How many of you go to Pizza Hut website? If you do, I have no idea how many goes to that, but to learn about P-zone or pasta. Anyone? Come on, they made up a very cool word called P-zone. You don't want to learn about that? What's wrong with you? Jeez, people. But the question that I have is, why don't they, if they believe that these are the only critical things that people do on their website, why not have them here also? Why have them go through all of this? Ask that question of yourself. What is the most critical functionality content that users are looking for when they come to your website? How do you find that? It's pretty simple. Buyer's journey. There is something called digital buyer's journey, where you effectively ask a user to ask them how would they engage with you. If someone wants to buy a pizza, ask them what information they are looking for, what is important to them, what do they care about, and that will give you the 20% of the content that 80% of the people are looking for. How do you conduct it? It's very simple. Couple of interviews. Don't have to be any fancy. Bring a couple of people in, talk to them. How do they shop when they're looking for your content? How about Beckett's College went from 9 call to actions to only 3. F-shape. So now you are building trust. You have thought about it from the perspective of the user. Now you are said, okay, I'm going to get rid of all the content that is not really important. But how do I design my content? How do I make it so that people really read my content? This principle is based upon, there was a research done by Nielsen-Norman group. Nielsen and Norman are the godfathers of usability. They have been publishing books since the 1970s actually. There is a lot of their research in 1980s also. There's nng.com, you can go to the website. And I think Norman is a guy who also worked for Apple. But they conducted heat maps. Heat maps, does anyone know what a heat map is? Okay, so for those, for those who may not know, or a refresher course. In a heat map, basically it used to be you had to put up a special device that literally made you look like a space creature coming down on your eyes. Now there is a bar that is below that tracks your eye movement. So it basically knows where you're looking on the page. And it shows you what is the natural progression of people's content, movement on a page. So they combine the learnings from multiple heat maps to come up with this F-shape. And what they found was, so this is for the people effectively will go read initially across, and then as they go down, the amount of content they scan becomes less and less and less and less. Does anyone here read or scan content like this when they go to a website? Yeah. We all do that. This human nature. Remember, we have 7 principles of fundamental usability. Human beings, technology changes, human beings do not. We are limited by our eyesight, these fingers that we use, the way we hear, our senses are our limitations. Of how our brain works is our limitation. So, as I said, users will first read the headline, sub-headline, content is relevant, then skim, and then go further down. And you know what, this should be no surprise to you. Anyone in the journalism business here, or content business? Newspaper figured that out a long time ago. They have figured this out a long time ago. Headline becomes very critical, sub-headline pulls you in, then you basically first 5 lines become very, very critical for you to can understand the zest of the story. And then if that pulls you in, that's when you engage further. Your action. Now you might say, well, why this here? That's because if you have content, again, if you're using headline and sub-headline concept again, if you find something important, something that intrigues you, then people will engage with that section one more time. So you need to use headlines and sub-headlines. This is again fundamental stuff, but we have forgotten this thing. You're looking to make your content scannable. You're also looking, actually I'm going to take a step back. Oh, I literally took a step back, I didn't know that. We did a buyer's journey at where I work. And what we found was, in our buyer's journey is a fancy word that we're using effectively, where we interview people, as I said, on, hey, what are the steps they take when they buy something? Or we also conducted surveys on our website to make sure that the interviews and what people are saying when they come to our website are actually the same. Then what we basically found was that people look at content from a discoverability perspective. They discover a product. Some people like a lot of details, other people like very little detail. So your job is to create content for your website that actually allows for both. And the F-shape concept and using headlines and sub-headlines and bullets allows you to make your content not only scannable, but also discoverable. It allows your content to become more easily consumable. And again, concept that was discovered 40, 50 years ago, chunking. Chunking is a concept that basically says we are human beings. When we read a text, we are able to read small paragraphs at one time. In bullets, we use 7 plus minus. There's a, I say 7 bullets. Why? There is another concept called 7 plus minus 2. Human beings in a short-term memory can consume and hold 5 to 9 pieces of information at any time. Give them more than 9, you're going to lose them. So you need to place, so obviously your headline has to be very, very, should summarize the section. The subheadline should support it, and aim for less than 8 words in the headline and subheadline. Aim for less than 8 words. I think it was Einstein who said that if you are not able to explain what you want to explain simplistically in a smaller or the fewest words, then you don't really understand it. That I think is the biggest problem with most of our websites. Do we really understand the services that we offer? Can we explain and express a headline within 8 words or less? Well, we tweet nowadays, and I guess we are better. But please do not use grade 8 and RT. So that is our challenge. At the same time, when you use the, oh, excuse me, I need to go back. When you use a bulleted list, make sure the most important bullet that you are trying to communicate is on the top. I've seen a lot of websites where they will have the most important bullet that they're trying to communicate at the bottom or in the middle. Don't do that. Remember, people are scanning, they'll leave if they don't see anything, they don't find the content that they're looking for. What is it you want? If it's an elevator pitch, what am I going to give you in the elevator for the 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 20 seconds that I have your attention for? And each bullet should have less than 15 words. A bullet is not a whole paragraph with a bullet in front of it, by the way. That is not a bullet. I literally have been on a website where it has been like 15 lines with a bullet in front. Hey, but I have bullets. You're using a bullet, but it is not the concept of a bullet. Whitespace is your friend. Tale of two stores. And basically, I know nothing about the 2 stores I'm going to show you, but I've seen my wife go through them, so the experience is secondary. So shoes, she loves shoes. I have zero idea what shoes are, but nonetheless, shoes. You walk into one store and this is what you see. What's your perception of the store? Cheap. Come on, it's not cheap. It's economical. It's efficient. It's giving you more choices, right? What about this store? Let's go back to principle number 1. Every single interaction with you and your company is either building or destroying trust. Every single interaction. Let's go to number 2. Principle number 2 was that to build from the perspective of the user. Is this from the perspective of the user? DSW, I love that store and I hate that store. Finding something in that is like you find one shoe and and the second shoe is missing, and I'm like, where the heck is the second shoe? And principle number 3, I forgot. I will remember it. Scannable content. Can you scan this easily? Alankar, what's wrong with you, man? They're shoes. The big difference between a shoe and a website, right? Shoes are shoes, a website is a website. Whitespace not only impacts your usability of your website, but your brand perception. Shoe is a shoe, website is a website. Nah, that's not true. That may be true for those. You use the word cheap, you use the word cluttered. Yeah, nobody uses that for a website. Please use the words to describe this website. There is a call to action that I am not moving until someone. Oh, by the way, did I tell you this is interactive group? You don't. I can just stand here. Where is it? Where can you engage and with this company? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Yes. Right? Wow. So there is another thing that I'm going to, the phone number there, right? And there is an offer also. Where is it? Upright. So in a big screen, you're able to see everything. We're looking at it for 10, 15 seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. A lot of research has been done. The fact that you have 11 seconds. 11 seconds until someone says, I'm gone. How many of you would have stayed on this page for more than 11 seconds looking for the information? Okay. There is more research that says 8 seconds, but you know what? I'm going to stick with 11 simply because people then say, you're making up stuff. Anyone a football fan here? You heard the 6-second rule, right? You play hard for 6 seconds. That's the average length of a play that lasts. You give it your all for that 6 seconds. But when you watch it on the TV, that 6 seconds looks like a pretty long time. 11 seconds is more than you can imagine. Go look at your web analytics. What is the average time spent on your website? How about this website? Which one would you prefer? And I'm going to do this. This is obviously the vision. This? A? Or B? A? Once more, exactly. Or B? Which is better? Why? Whitespace. Whitespace is your friend. It is your friend. Whitespace, basically what it does is it allows you to group things together that are same, differentiate them from others, make things stand out, makes the call to action, the form right here, right? Or this offer stand out much better than the other things. But we don't use Whitespace. We are afraid of it. We want to pack everything up there. Most of the time it's because political. On their home page, put everything on it. But it's your job as the UX expert to fight that. So using active whitespace makes important things on your page stand out and easy to find. Findability is the #1 thing that is wrong with most of the website. How do I find what I'm looking for? You know, the biggest invention or the biggest innovation in library was ability to find information in an organized way. Otherwise, a pile of book in the middle of a floor doesn't do anything for you. Remember this old friend of ours? Remember this call to action? Why weren't you able to see it immediately? It just runs into everything. The whole thing looks the same. There is no differentiation, there is no white space. So we use white space to group things together by decreasing or increasing the space between those, right? A simple concept. But at the same time, so here is what happens. Again, interactive section. Where will I click to learn more about the products that I'm selling? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi. Good Lord God, people, you're killing me. Come on, man, it's right there, right in front of your eyes, so big, whoa. But why didn't you see it? It's running into this right here, it's running into this right here. Not enough white space. Defeats the purpose. If I had just padded this area a little bit more, and this more here, this would have stood out. And this, all the effort that I put in to build these icons and this language would have paid off. Just because I was stingy with white space, screwed up. Not enough white space. I keep forgetting that I built these animations in there, and now things happen like, oh, whoops. How about this one? Where you have, how many call to actions are there associated with this thing right here? How many? 6. If I were, how many engagements can I make with this? There are actually 4 things I can do with this thing. Actually 5 if you like. So if I were to ask you, hey, how do I get to the monthly pay? Where is the monthly price? Did you think it was associated with this? If you wanted to see monthly pricing, you click on this, and this thing changes. If you wanted to add payroll, you click on this to add payroll to either of these products. That's pretty good design. I gave you all the white space you wanted. Just like in anything in life, too much white space. Anything has a double-edged sword. Too much white space. Yes, it is right.
I take 11 seconds.
Yes. Exactly. So you are right, and this is literally what happens. Again, let's go back to principle number 1. Build trust. And what will we say about principle number 1? It's not about just putting an about you page. Each of these things will break trust with you and your company. And when that happens, it's hard to build a glass jar that has been broken once more. Trust once broken, it's going to be hard to rebuild. So using active space to make, basically if you use active space, again the whole idea of making it, bringing things together when they need to be and having space between them, that's active space. Research shows that comprehension increases 20% for a paragraph. This is not even for content, this is not even for images, for content only. 20% improvement in comprehension. That's huge. Avoid banner blindness. Principle number 5. Doing good on time. How many of you go to a website and start scanning all these things on the side here? How many of you really say, oh, I really love that. I want to see more and more of that. I don't really care about the content. Give me the promotion that you got. This is again is heat map, by the way. Good Lord God. You mean nobody looked at it? Nah, nobody looked at it. How about this one? Delphi. Wow, everybody looked here, 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 here. Nobody looked at these? Why? Some of them looked in this area. We'll come back to this. Images are your friend. We as human beings respond very positively to images, but we have to be able to use images properly. We'll talk about that later on. What causes banner blindness? Banner blindness, number one cause of that is using frivolous images, stock photography. We as human beings respond to images. It is a given fact. That's again, remember, 7 principles of usability that are fundamental. We respond to images. But use of frivolous images breaks our trust. And once we stop looking at images, we'll stop looking at them altogether on a website. Observe yourself next time you go to a website. Observe if the image they're using is stock photography or just generic image. What is your reaction to the rest of the images? You got to use images, but you got to use them carefully. How about this one? A simple question. Do my images add value? There are 3 images on this. Tell me which one really adds value for you and the others, the one that does not add value. I'm sure this has no value, right? This is selling t-shirts. This has 0 value, but I bet you love these 2. Raise your hand if you like these 2 images on this page. They're truly adding value for you. Why is it adding, Luna, why is it adding value for you? You like the images. What does it tell you about the product you're about to buy? So, I'm sorry? Buying a t-shirt is fun and childish? These are professional t-shirts. I like that one. There you go. That's the answer. You're right. You have your perception, right? And there is nothing wrong with that. And that's the right perception that you have. They're fun and childish. This may be good if I was selling children clothing, but this is customized professional clothing. The purpose of these images is that we do not squander money or we give you for cheap. May I introduce the dancing monkeys? What can I know? Why can't I could have communicated more from a content piece that says, we do not charge you more than you need. Someone said, man, people respond to images, let's put this sucker up there. What does it do the next time you see something like this on the next page? Are you going to look at it more carefully, or are you going to ignore it? Most of us will ignore it, right? And that's banner blindness. And then later on, when you actually are using an image like this to communicate value that you bring to the table, no one is going to look at it. And also remember, people, how many of you work for Google? CNN? Anyone? Washington Post? New York Times? How many of you believe that people come and spend a lot of time on your website every day? No? People expect your website to behave the way others' websites behave. And the websites that I just named you are marketing driven. So they use images and offers on the site, and that creates a banner blindness in their mind. But that's one area. Other positive on that one is, on the flip side of it, is that anyone use the Hamburger Menu? Anybody like it? Anybody understand what it is? Yes? That's again because your experience of having used it on YouTube, Facebook, even Yahoo has it, Gmail has it. That experience now, basically now you understand what those 3 bars mean and you engage with it. Let me give you another example of this thing. You know, when you go to a B2B, how many of you work for B2B? So if you work for B2B, do you have that on your top menu bar, do you have this, your options are product, support, services? Do you use those? Did you know that in 1990s when these concepts came out, they were just internal graduation of, of what the company thought, and they put those menu options out there. But over the years, that has become the norm now. Everyone uses that. But that was not the intent. It was just basically product marketing and product management thinking how they felt internally. And most of us do not know or do not like those. But when someone changes that language to something else, we get lost because we are used to seeing that again and again. It becomes a habit. Look back to the exit sign. How many of you want to see that versus something that basically has an arrow that says the same concept? Because you're used to seeing it, use what you expect to see. And then if you are shown something different, it destroys your perception. But that all ties into banner blindness. If people see frivolous images on other websites, their assumption is that your images are also frivolous. That creates banner blindness. So, don't place key call to actions in the locations where people expect banner ads. Let's go back to this wonderful example. In this area, what do you expect to see usually? And most of the website where you spend your time, ESPN, well, I don't know where you spend your time, but ESPN, Washington Post, New York Times, that's where I spend most of my time. And I ignore this section. It's not because anything they did wrong. I mean, they did many things wrong, but nonetheless, and there's this design that my expectation is I'm going to see something that is not worth looking at. But here are all the call to actions are here. Every single call to action is here. I work for a company called Sage, obviously, and we did what we call 5-second test. Has anybody ever conducted a 5-second test? It's a pretty simple test, right? What I will show you this. Imagine I show you for 5 seconds this particular image. Show this for 5 seconds, and then I take it away. Then I ask you, what do you remember about this page? Pardon me? The smiling lady, right? So that's one test. What it does, what happens what do you notice? What is it you notice when those 5 seconds? Again, 5 seconds, people say it's too short. No, it's not. We as human beings are very good at making micro decisions and micro impressions of something in a very short time. That's how we survive. You don't want to look at a lion coming at you. Oh, let me look at a lion for 25 seconds before I decide, should I run or should I stay? You look at a lion, within one split second, you're gone. But a snake on the ground, unless you like snakes, well, that's a different conversation. And you and I will not be friends if you like snakes, because I'm petrified of snakes. That's a different conversation. But the point I'm trying to make is that when we did that test in this particular design, we were surprised to see few things. Very first thing was that people noticed things that they wanted to notice. But most of the things was most of the people ignored this section. Most of the people did not see this because they did not look at that. That was section they thought was ads. And we made things look like ads anyway. Call to action in the wrong place. But the second concept was that people noticed things that they wanted to notice. They came to our conference with a preconceived notion of what answers they wanted to have answered, or what questions they wanted to have answered, and they were looking for that information. So you need to be able to design your page in that perspective. But more key thing, we learned a hard way. We took all our call to actions from here and put them in the page itself. Make important visuals look important and not like decorative graphics. Hard to do. Why? Let's go back to this. How many call to actions are on this page? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, 11, 12. Whoa, boy, everything is critical. If everything is a button, then nothing is a button. The difference between a button and a link is this. Link, engage with the website. Button, engage with the company. Plain and simple as that. We place more value to the button because we believe that it has more value. But if everything is a button, then I think I'm going to notice links more. So, but it is, do not make important visuals look decorative. If you don't do this, then you will create banner blindness on your website. Let's go back to this. How many of you knew that you could click on this? What created the banner blindness of you not noticing it beyond the fact that this all junk was around? Does it look like a button? Does it look like something that invites engagement? It looks like a decorative image. Why buy from us? And then you got these nice icons, open, free, money, whatever. Principle number 6. People do not make effective choices when given a lot of options. This actually, I like this. I came to this country in '85, went to a restaurant, wanted to order a sandwich, and I could not order a sandwich. What bread would you like? What cheese would you like? What meat would you like? What toppings would you like? What condiments would you like? And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Give me a sandwich. I just want a sandwich. And then we have a myth, human beings have a myth of choice. Every one of us assumes we are free to choose and we want to choose. How many of you try different options at the same restaurant you go every single time you go? Raise your hand. That is, I don't know what that means. Sometimes. So you try. How many of you end up ordering those 2-3 things that you keep on ordering all the time? What? You guys don't like choices? What's wrong with you? You have made your choices. So, anyone heard the jam test, about the jam test? If you have seen my presentation before, you have seen me talk about that. In 1990s, I think it was in 95, this professor in Columbia, interesting, she's blind, but she's a usability professor. So it basically shows you that if you are interested in usability, you don't have to see. Exactly. She's legally blind, but it is about the experience that she was focused on. She did a test. She set up 2 tables, one with 26 flavors of jam, other with 6 flavors of jam. And then she invited students to actually taste the jams. And then they could try as much as they wanted, and then they could buy from them. Which table do you think sold more? 26? Anyone for 26? No one? Anyone for 6? Yes. Myth of a choice. Number 2, it becomes even more predominant if you're selling something complicated. There is a myth of information. Myth of information says that when I am looking to buy something complex, something I'm not aware of, like a car, I need as much information as you can give me. And then when I get all that information, I get as confused as possible. So, talking about a car, I know a lot about the car. A car has 4 wheels. It has 2 doors or 4 doors. It never comes with 1 door. A car has headlights. It has a steering wheel and a radio, and it can go from one place to B. That's what I know about a car. Now you talk about V4 and V6, and I'm like, what the hell is it? What is V? I have zero idea. Or it has anti-locks and this and that. But because I'm about to spend $30,000-$40,000 on a car, guess what? Give me all that information, even though I may have zero idea. And in the end, the decision is made on, oh, I like the color, I know the brand. I just chose 4 or 5 factors. We do that all the time, by the way. Your users do that. If you're a B2B company, be aware of this, please. Please be aware of this. Everyone is going to tell you that they want all the information from you to make their decision. But once you give them all that information, they'll be very confused. So that's where the F shape comes in. That's where the concept of perspective comes in. What is critical? What is not critical? All those components come in. So I hope you're taking one thing away from this, is that each of these principles builds on each other. They are not discrete from each other. These are the 7 principles in your arsenal that you should be thinking about, and they're all connected to each other. Wow. I told this story before, so I'm going to tell it again. I went for an interview and I said, I'm colorblind. And they said, wow, you're colorblind. You dress pretty well for a colorblind person. And to the point that you knew, right? My wife laid out my colors. I go to this particular page. I have zero idea what the hell I'm looking at. How many of you can differentiate all these colors? Raise your hand, please. Oh, good Lord God, you can't? You know what they are? Because I mean, I can see the differences, but I have zero idea what forest green, oh, sorry, oops. And that was a fun usability issue right there. I have zero idea what the forest green, how is it different than Irish green or whatever, the 10,000 green colors. Will you be able to decide what color you want for yourself from this? There are 60 different color options. How long do you think it's going to take you to figure out what color do you want? But how many will de facto go to white or black or gray as a choice? You basically increase the cognitive load of your user's brain so much here, they are going to glaze over. They will not make an effective choice. Going back to principle number 1, every micro interaction with your company builds or destroys trust. That's going to happen. Going back to principle number 2, perspective. From their perspective, you gave them everything you wanted to do because you wanted to say, hey, I got 60 choices for you. Look how great I am. But you never asked from their perspective what they wanted. Scannable. Is it scannable? Yeah, but is it understandable? Hell no. Space. And how many of us use those? Sure. That's a great point. And how many of us then end up, unless you're a graphic designer, but versus a normal user? Yes, that's it. But that's valid. How about, remember I talked about buying an iPhone for my daughter, but I was trying to convince her that other phones are available. I came to this website and I looked at these concepts. There's a lot of amazing data out there. And I didn't understand any of them. Number 1, technically challenged. Number 2, my eyes just glazed over. Cognitive load was way too high. It violated the rule of 7 plus minus 2. Please, I beg of you, this research has been done since 1940s. Does anyone know why your phone number is what it is? The number of digits? 3, 3, 4, 7 plus minus 2. How can you remember that? This is not something just we made up. You give someone like 23 features across 3 different phones, 66 pieces of information to digest. How much do you think anybody can understand? When you do this, you lose sales. What about this one? Again, this or this? Oops, sorry, I keep forgetting about that animation. I'm not going to go back to that one because that is going to be too much. I don't have that much time left. Actually, I'm way over limit. 13 choices over 2, 26, much better than 63. Do I really need to know all those pieces of information? Because you do not know your products. Because your assumption is that everybody wants every single piece of information, and because you do not follow 20-80 rule, that 80% of the people are only focused on that 20% of the information. You design, I'm going to do this. Rather than this. So I already talked about that. Again, George Miller conducted the short-term testing. This was again in 1940s. 9 pieces of information at the most. And you need to always be asking, is this information critical to make a decision? Not perspective again, not from your perspective, not if it is cool. Is it important for them to make a decision? If not, remove it. Final principle, and my apologies, is 11:31. Give me 5 more minutes, please, and I can open for questions after that again. We have the next session is here. It is at actually 12 is lunch, and then the next session is at 1:30. So use effective error messaging. wanted to buy a phone for the daughter. She wanted this nice looking case with whatever it could be customized. And I kept clicking add to cart and it would not take me anywhere. Can anyone tell me why it never took me anywhere? You guys saw that? Very hiding. I kept clicking on this thing. If you have seen my presentations before, there are 4 rules of usability. 4 ways you want to improve your usability. Number 1, can you see me? Number 2, do you understand me? Number 3, can you use me? And number 4, am I useful? We only focus on can you use me? I forgot about other 3. Here the reality is, if I cannot see it, it does not exist. Though it gave me the error that I needed, it did not exist. How about this example? I got all these errors, but guess where they are? On the top of the page here. Anyone would love to know which error is associated with what? How do I fix it? Boy, talk about using Whitespace, right? I mean, I know you use Whitespace, but man, that's like the moon and the earth kind of concept going on. Looking at the moon, trying to figure out what the problem with the earth is, right? Man. So when you have you're really placing one hell of a cognitive load on people's mind. I keep using the word cognitive load. Cognitive load is nothing more than, and I'm sure most of you know this, but cognitive load is nothing more than the amount of work that I need to do to do something. If I have to think more, that increases the cognitive load. So I have just so much RAM in my mind. I can either use the RAM to do what I want to do or try to figure out your design. Try to figure this thing out. Again, it's hardwired. I don't care if you call yourself, I'm the best multitasker in the world. It ain't true. You're smoking something. A lot of research, every single resource has shown that none of us can multitask. It's the way we can slice the information down more and more and more and more and more. But after a while, we stop making effective decisions based upon that. And after a while, our brain gets exhausted. Try this out next time. When you're multitasking, how tired do you feel after 1 hour? When you're focused on something for an hour, how tired do you feel after an hour? It's a simple equation. More the brain has to switch between things, the harder it works. Same thing. Hit any key to continue. How many of your users are doing this on your website? Ineffective messages will create frustration in the mind of the user and break that trust that you're looking to build. And if I may make this comment, this is the dumbest thing that you can do as a web owner. Why? Imagine someone walks into your store, goes through your web homepage of what we saw of that where we were selling the water heater, deals with that, goes in, learns about the product. Do I have it? Yes. And then stands in line and says, here's my credit card. And then you say, wait a minute, not so easy. Gotta figure that sucker out. Those errors that you're making. Boy, the amount of frustration that human being will face at that moment, and how you have lost a sale that you will never gain again. That's the point. You really want to have messages. I know I put it number 7, but if you notice that this actually doesn't fit in with any of the other principles that build on each other. This principle is key for the success of your conversion funnel. You need to give them effective errors. So how do we use errors effectively? Rather than having that on the top, show where the error is taking place. Tell them how to fix it. So by the way, there's something wrong with this, right? It says phone is not in the valid format. It doesn't tell me what the valid format is. Better yet, Don't design a form that basically expects a format. Especially if we go mobile. When you go to wearables, when you go Internet of Things. So, here are a few rules. Make sure the errors are visible and not hidden. It's your fault if they are hidden. Are near the point of error itself. Suggest what caused the problem. Informs the severity. Not everything is the same level, right? Gives them a level of how severe the error is. Or in plain English. Go to SAP, use SAP, and it says error 50222. What the hell do I do with error 50222? This is what I do. I call the organization that owns SAP implementation and say, I have no idea what error 50222 is. Tell me. And there are some other points, and I'm way over my time. So, again, 7 principles. Most critical is build trust, but all of these help you build trust. Well, I'm way over my time. Thank you very much. My name is Alankar. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.